What is up everyone? How are you all doing today? Welcome back to a brand new video. So, a little fun fact, I've been working 6 to 7 days every single week for the past... since February. In case you didn't know, I am a consultant at one of the Big Four accounting firms. If you want to see a video of the pros of working at the Big Four firms, you can look at my other video, which will be linked down below. But yes, I am a consultant at one of these prestigious firms. But when I'm not doing my 9 to 5 there Monday to Friday, I'm actually working at another job on Saturdays and Sundays. I work, get ready, as a checkout chick. Yes, I work at a supermarket on the checkouts. Very prestigious. Now, you may be wondering, why do I do this? Why do I need to work an extra day or an extra 2 days a week? What drives me to do that? Why would anyone want to work more when they could be living their lives? Well, let me tell you. So as you all know, we are in a slowing economy. The economy's not doing so great. People are losing their jobs, companies are going bankrupt. It's not a great time. However, if you're smart and if you've been saving this whole time working an extra 1 or 2 days a week, then you have extra discretionary income, meaning that most likely you can buy things cheap. For example, if you always wanted a sports car, if you were to get a loan for a sports car, the interest rates on those cars, or if you want to buy a house, interest rates are at all-time lows. If you've been saving working these extra days, you have more money to capitalize when things are cheap. Same thought process, which more specifically to me, is same with stocks. You can go crazy, buy all the stocks you want for cheap. Everything was above 30% discount a few weeks ago. It was amazing. Also, a massive thing, if you're younger and don't have the money to maybe buy a car or buy an investment property, your money is most likely going to things like clothing. Clothes are super cheap right now. If you've checked any online retailer, they're all on sale because they have this clothing that they need to sell, but no one's buying anything. So they've slashed the prices like crazy. An interesting thought process is the idea of future value of your money. $1 today is worth more than $1 tomorrow. The reasoning for this is inflation, and as we know, many countries around the world are participating in quantitative easing, which is pretty much printing more money. When you print more money, the value of the existing money is actually lowered because there's more supply, meaning lower demand. It actually shifts the LM curve for any of you who have done any macroeconomic classes. So more specifically, my reasoning for buying an investment property. As I said, I invest heavily into the stock market. But on top of that, I plan to buy an investment property at the end of this year or the start of next year. And to do that requires an extra subset of income, purely because I don't want to sell any of my current investments, because I'm holding them till I die. You also have to kind of think about things like healthcare, which can be very expensive. Hypothetically, if someone in your family got cancer, the cost of cancer can be up to $1 million and further. Who do you think is going to pay for that? Insurance companies will only pay for so much. They will never pay for the entire of chemotherapy. So things like healthcare for like family members and loved ones. So of course it's important to have a large balance ready for an emergency, because there's no way I'm selling my shares. I feel that when you're young especially, it's really easy to have a second job and not be judged too hard based on what the second job is. For example, if my second job was, oh, I'm an artist or I make music, then I feel like you'd be judged a little bit less than, say, working as a checkout chick. But when you're young, and more specifically look young like me, I'm 22 but look 16, people don't exactly judge you too hard for still working at what's typically thought of as a teenager's job. Not that it really matters what other people think, it's just that the constant feeling of being judged could potentially cause someone not to want to work a second job. I've really only had positive experiences in my second job too, because depending on where you work, where your second job is, who the people are, it's not just a job, it becomes like a family. You start to get along with all the people you work with. You're almost excited to work because it's so different from your normal job and the people are so different, so it's a good variety. Especially during quarantine, like I've been stuck at home on my 9 to 5 job, Monday to Friday doing consulting, but on weekends I get to do my essential service job and get to have human interaction, which is so very nice. Of course, this video is filmed around 3 or 4 weeks before it comes out, so I don't actually know if we're still going to be in quarantine or not. Also, a big point that I feel a lot of young people seem to neglect is that when you get older, your friendship groups become smaller. As you know, if you finish high school, the group that you hang out with kind of shrinks when you enter university and then shrinks again after you finish university. So your friend group ends up being quite small compared to what it used to be. But when you work a second job, you make all these new friends and your small friend group starts to get larger. Also, of course, another benefit is the money that you get from a side income. By working 5 hours on Saturdays every week for a year, I would earn an extra $7,000 a year. By working 5 hours on Saturday and on Sunday, that's an extra $17,000 a year. The reason for the differences is based on penalty rates on Saturday versus Sunday. And that money is extremely important because one thing that's extremely important while you're young is to travel. And by building this extra income, you have more opportunity and more power to travel where you want, some nicer places, get to experience experience things that many people haven't experienced in their lifetime just by working an extra 5-hour shift a week. Now, I've been talking about all these benefits. Now let's talk about the cons, because of course, working an extra day a week or an extra 2 can be very taxing. And that's not just because you pay higher tax. The main disadvantage, as you can probably think of, is the lack of free time. Of course, working an extra day or 2 makes it so that you have a lot less free time at home and to see friends. But for me, I like to see friends at night so I can still see them after work. Now, this is huge when you first start working your 6 to 7 day work weeks. You are so mentally tired and taxed, physically exhausted. But luckily, this actually goes away if you stick with it. After 3 weeks, I'd say, of doing it, you actually become quite used to it, and it's not even that bad. It's just that most people who start doing the 6 to 7 day work weeks can't handle it because they don't stick with it. It's really like anything, if you stick with something, it becomes easier. Also, another downside that may seem kind of weird is that you end up making so much more money than you used to that it becomes easier to buy things, and you end up spending way more money than you probably should. So if your goal is to save more money, then you should take note that subconsciously you may be more excited and more willing to spend more money than you probably should, just because of the extra income that's coming in. And that is all for this video. If you liked it, make sure you hit the subscribe button to stay up to date with more videos like this one.